Kawhi Leonard retire? Pretty recently, we heard that Kawhi had a procedure done and he wasn't ready and he probably wasn't going to play, or rather he wasn't going to play in preseason. Now the news is that he's out indefinitely while they are working on, a plan to get him back on the court. And now because it is 100% confirmed that he doesn't even have a timeline to come back yet, people are discussing on whether or not they think he should retire. And I feel like that's a very, sensitive topic. It's hard to tell somebody they should retire, because it is their career. And while I don't know Kawhi personally, I can't tell you how he's feeling. However, something Kendrick Perkins said on one of the shows he was on the other day, I kind of agree with. And basically what he said is that there's only so many surgeries you can have until it's basically bone on bone, So and he said he doesn't know if that's the case, if it's bone on bone yet, or if it, would ever be for him, for Kawhi specifically. And so I don't know either, but I do agree with that sentiment. Like, there is only so many surgeries you can have, because you also don't want to just keep, having surgeries. At some point, not only does it have to be physically draining, but so mentally draining. And I understand that the reason Kawhi would keep having surgeries is so that he can have his knee get back to the form that he wants it to be, so he can play in the NBA. But we have seen other players in the past who just have injury, an injury history with their knee or their ankle or just any kind of, leg, part of their leg, and it just keeps being a repeat injury to the point where they just have to retire from the NBA. It's a really tough position, not only for Kawhi to be in, but the Clippers, because we discussed this last time when the news came out that Kawhi had a procedure done, and I was talking about how, we don't know how long it's going to be, but they're opening up a brand new arena. They lost Paul George, and they were basically relying on Kawhi to be their face. Well, he was already supposed to be the face of their franchise, but especially the face of the new arena, the new look Clippers. And so now it's clear he's not going to be there for we don't even know how long. And it's tough because the Clippers literally just extended him recently. He still has at least 3 years left on his deal. I think there is a way, so to speak, if Kawhi retired due to medical reasons, that Kawhi could still get the money because it's a medical reason. I think that's how it works. Don't quote me on that. And then I also do think there's a way that if he did somehow retire, the Clippers can stretch his contract so that they're going to be paying him for a while, but that it won't be as harsh on their cap because it's stretched out. So like I said, worst case scenario, that is a possibility for both of them, Kawhi and the Clippers, to, try to salvage the situation if he does indeed retire. But taking that aside, if he doesn't retire, this is just a really tough situation for everybody. And you gotta feel for Clippers fans at this point because it's every year for them. Again, it's not Kawhi's fault that, he has all these injuries. It's not his fault being injured. But at the same time, he's not there often enough that they haven't had the playoff success that they were supposed to have. And again, he's not going to be there for we don't know how long this season. He's missed so many games. And if you're a Clippers fan, I could understand why you would be frustrated and kind of fed up, because not only do you want to just see your team win, but you just want to see all the players on the court. Ty Lue is in an incredibly tough position as usual, but at the same time, Ty Lue has security, in my opinion. It's funny because head coaches in the NBA don't always have a ton of security on their job. Ty Lue is one of those coaches who I feel has pretty good security on his job for a while, because it's clear how good of a coach he is, and he's been making the best of the situation that he's had because Kawhi and or Paul George have been, injured throughout his tenure. So Ty Lue, you're good over there. And then you also gotta kind of feel bad in a way for the rest of the team, like a Norman Powell, like a Terrence Mann, like a Zubac, because all three of those players are very good players. They could be in any kind of rotation for any championship contender. Maybe even start on some of those teams. But 100% be in the rotation on any other championship contending team. And they're on the Clippers, who are supposed to be one of those as well. And they unfortunately have not gotten the opportunity, to go to the NBA Finals, with the Clippers because Kawhi and Paul George is not there anymore, but because they were hurt. And like I always say, it's a team sport. So I'm not saying like the other teammates around Kawhi shouldn't be helping him make the NBA Finals, so to speak, when they are all playing together. But if Kawhi is literally not there due to injury, we can't expect them to go to the finals, I understand. They get to play basketball for a living. They make millions. I understand that. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be grateful for playing basketball. What I'm saying is again, those three players I'm referencing are good players. And they definitely want to go win a championship. That is the goal, or one of the goals of being in the NBA. And while, of course, you want the money, you want the playing time, you want the accolades, you also want a ring. And so it's got to be tough to go in every single year for 4 or 5 years now, and they literally haven't gotten a chance to prove if they can win a championship. They haven't made the finals. They haven't gotten to be able to go to the finals and then potentially lose it and be like, all right, we didn't do it. Let's run it back. However, one person that this sort of benefits is James Harden. Of course, James Harden would like Kawhi to be out there because whenever you have more star players, it makes your life easier because we know what Kawhi does, offensively, defensively. Nothing needs to be said. So obviously it would make it easier on Harden for many reasons. But this might low-key earn James Harden his next contract. Because I'm not going to lie, I was shocked when the Clippers offered him that 2-year, $70 million deal. I didn't think he was going to get anything close to that, if I'm being honest. It had nothing to do with the fact of it's not that I didn't think he could play anymore. I just really thought that his value around the league was trending in the Russell Westbrook, direction. And again, that's not me saying Russ can't play either, but we see that Russ is playing on much smaller contracts than he was. And I know they're not the same player, but I really thought Harden was trending in that direction, whether that's fair or not. And so I was shocked when he got that huge contract. And so now the fact that he's going to be running the show, it's like the James Harden Houston Rockets days, except older version. James Harden might be getting his next contract this year. So again, while he obviously wants Kawhi to be healthy, and I'm sure James Harden wants to win a ring, and so I'm not saying he's cheering for this. I'm just saying this may benefit him money-wise later on, because if he plays the way he played in Houston, he's going to get another deal on the table from somebody around the league, another big contract.